We all have stories. Stories inspired by culture, competition, creativity. Stories show our humanity. They inspire us to greatness and remind us to be humble. Stories connect us to our communities and the rest of the world. We are the Chutta people, and these are our stories. See and share them at togetherwe'remore.com.
People don't know what it is to be champions. Oklahoma invented it.
Hola, what's up? Welcome to Through the Keyhole, everybody. How's everybody doing? Hopefully my sound doesn't sound too bad. For those lucky patrons of ours that are going to be watching this live, and for the viewers on YouTube after the fact, you'll notice there's nothing on my wall. Well, my wife kicked me out. I'm just kidding. She didn't kick me out. We are remodeling the room that my computer sits in when we record these shows. So hopefully the sound is not too echoey. Does it sound echoey on your guys' end, Matt?
Sounds great.
Good.
You sound great.
Good.
Never better. Never better.
Good. Here's a putty knife, just as an example. We are doing stuff. Well, welcome to the show, everybody. It's Through the Keyhole. It's an Oklahoma football podcast. And guess what? It's game week. The spring game, not Crimson Combine. So before you start bitching and moaning about how spring games are boring, and hey, before you start bitching about, hey, why isn't the spring game on TV? We'll talk about that too. Just remember this time last year, we were about to talk about the Crimson Combine. Things have improved mightily in just a short year. But like I kind of quickly, spoiler alert, mentioned, we've got 3 of the 4 horsemen today. Matt Burton, how are you doing?
Doing well, man. Excited to be here, and
No,
excited to talk some spring ball, man. I'm excited.
I good. I know you're lying because you talk about this every day on the radio, and you're just counting down the days until the Thunder get upset in the first round, right?
Right. Yeah. By the Clippers too. Wouldn't that be something?
Ironic, right? Do the Thunder get a better draft pick if they get beat in the first round? That's what I want to know.
I think they would. Or I don't know if that's. I think it's maybe regular season dependent. So I think they would still get the last pick, but that pick's going somewhere else anyways. So
yawn. LaMelo Ball beating the Miami Heat. I hate it. Alan Kinney, the man, the myth, the legend himself, the writer on keyholepod.com. That's the free website that you can all go check out. He just dropped an article about the spring game and Mr. Owen Heineke. But Alan, how are we doing this eve?
Great, man. Happy to be here. Looking forward to not watching the spring game on Saturday. So you guys want to explain to me what happened?
You're just gonna see like courtroom art. What do they call it? It's like sketchy, someone on the beat draws John Mateer with like Super Saiyan anime hair, and then he threw it, and it was so cool. Look at that! There's fire, and then like the cheerleader babes, they're like, "Oh my god, that was so cool!" That's what you're gonna see.
Yeah, I literally didn't know it wasn't gonna be televised until like yesterday.
You saw it on Twitter.
Yeah. All of a sudden, I was like, "What?"
I'm gonna post. Do you guys remember that early video of the leprechaun? It was like in Alabama.
Yes,
all seen leprechauns say, yeah. I'm gonna post that the sketch, the artist sketch.
Who else saw the spring
this is
game?
John
Say,
Mateer. Yeah, I was like, this is John Mateer heading out into the tunnel. For those that can't be here in person.
Well, unfortunately, Alan, I mean, that breaks my heart that you're not going to be able to watch it live, but
I'll get by.
The one time in your life where being a coastal elite bit you in the ass, like I'm very sorry about that. And I am sorry to even the people that live as close to Norman as Ardmore or Ponca City or Boise City or all the way out in, I don't really care if you live in Elohim City. Y'all can go screw off and play fort, whatever y'all do out there. But, out in Tulsa, and you're like, you know what? I don't want to drive 2 hours to go to a 3-hour scrimmage where only maybe 30 minutes of it is going to be interesting. So my heart truly goes out to the people that were looking forward to maybe just sitting at home on Saturday to watch an OU football game of some magnitude. And now you have to just, well, let's do it like our forefathers did and gather around the radio. Which, where are they going to be able to hear the spring game, Matt?
107.7 The Franchise.
Oh,
The flagship station.
Oh, not KREF?
No, I don't believe so.
Okay, that's my bad. As I sip my bubbly, Alan's like, haha, like Oklahoma City based market, sports media, humor. Very boring.
Yeah, Jim Traber and whatnot.
Man, y'all remember like early Lost Ogle days when they would bring the cardboard cutout of Jim Traber to like events? That was some like cardboard cutout Jim Traber goes to the medieval fair.
Yeah.
Man, I miss being young and full of wonderment. But shout out to the I'm sorry. I know I look funny. Shout out to our wonderful sponsors, Choctaw Nation. Thank you once again for continuing to be our title sponsor. And then, of course, Kaizen Performance Gym, the best gym in Norman and or more, depending on like where you think Norman more kind of start and end, but it's okay. So shout out to all of them. Raid up in the chat. What's up, our friend? Raid lives in Atlanta, so he's cooked. Well, at least the food's good. At least the music's good. Something I found out in Atlanta when I went there for SEC Media Day last year is that big Ferris wheel next to Olympic Park. Our hotel was like right up against it. Every day at 5, that Ferris wheel plays Hey Ya by Outkast, which is like, okay, this is like their tornado siren at noon on Saturday. So this is much better because I've always wondered when, let's say like you plop an immigrant from somewhere else on earth into Oklahoma without any warning. And then on Saturday, they're just like, oh no, especially if they're from Europe. They're like, it's the Russians. Anyway, fun time's over. Let's talk about something serious. Well, Alan, I'm going to give you the green light on this one. Should we talk about Owen Heineke first? Should you continue to clean up the mess that myself and Lee Benson made with our Patreon podcast?
Oh well, yeah. Like, man, we can if you want. I look. I don't know if it's a mess so much as like I think that like the conversation about this has kind of there's a lot going on here where there's a lot of like people up in their feelings about whether or not Owen Heineke deserves a waiver versus like, I think that, like Grant and Lee, for example, have made, pretty, I guess fair argument about the NCAA rules and how they apply here. Right.
Yeah. So
the problem is that like the whole world has changed for the NCAA, right? In the past 5 years since the Alston decision was handed down. Right. And so this isn't really this deal with Heineke. I don't think it's not a case of did he adhere to the NCAA rules or not? It's more like, does the NCAA even have the authority to carry out its rules or write its own rules? Because that's kind of where we're really at. And I think that, in that context, when you're talking about stuff like people's property rights and, restraining trade, the issues get all, are completely different here, where now what the NCAA is being, essentially has to, kind of get past is the idea that they would be literally denying Owen Heineke rights that he's entitled to through how they administer their waiver process. So that's kind of where we are right now, I think, with this. And I mean, it's one of these things where really this is just a side effect of the NCAA being like kind of just thrown into chaos, I think, in the last 5 years or so.
Absolutely. And hopefully you didn't take me like trying not to smile while you were talking as me laughing at your point, because all I'm thinking about when you're saying all that, Alan, because I agree. I think especially given what with Owen Heineke's legal team brought out, what was it, yesterday or the day before? And Matt, if you can, live production, if you can find that tweet, I think George Stoya put it out. If you can find that tweet so we could share it, so we can just kind of go through here and there what they mentioned. I think it was the one where they're comparing like the Texas dude to Owen's case. All I was thinking of, Alan, was look, you're referring to Grant and Lee Benson from the West of Everest podcast, had Lee on the Patreon pod. You can go to patreon.com/the Keyhole, get extra podcasts from us about OU football and OU sports. Lee was one of the guests a few weeks ago. We talked about the Owen Heineke case. Lee and Grant, they run West of Everest. They're OU fans. They want Owen Heineke to be like on the team. We want Owen Heineke to be on the team. It's just funny because Lee, as my friend, I know how I have a good idea how his brain works. And I have just in my head created a cartoon version of him where OU's winning the national championship in large part because Owen Heineke, let's say he has like a pick six against Miami in the national championship game. And there's like a sea of like arms, like crimson clad arms, like in euphoria. And then there's that one person just with his arms crossed, and it's Lee. That famous picture of all those Germans doing the bad salute. And then there's that one German guy that refused to salute. It's going to be Lee saying he shouldn't be here. Justice wasn't served. Right. I'm just kidding, Lee. I'm just kidding. But no, it's, I think you're right in that the rules, the environment for which the NCAA typically was able to enforce their rules no longer really applies anymore. But at the same time, the interesting thing is I think Owen's probably going to play for the team now. At the same time, I don't know if that means that rules are going to change just because of Owen Heineke, because you're right. And Lee and Grant even mentioned it on their show, their latest episode, how it is weird that football and wrestling are the only sports that have a unique redshirt rule. Why don't other sports, or why aren't you able to create like transitive rules for if players switch sports? Like, why can't they just have redshirt rules retroactively apply if they switch to a different sport while they're still in college? But it is what it is. Matt, did you find the post? Okay.
I can try to share my screen here if it lets me,
because I completely forgot about this dude that is playing for Texas this year.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
never mind. I thought I had it. Can you guys see it or no? Okay.
No.
Oh, there we go.
There we go.
There it is.
Yeah. So going between Owen Heineke's situation, contrasting it to, as I need to like really lean forward onto my screen. Lawrence Seymour. Watch, we're going to make fun of this dude and he's going to destroy OU. I don't like, what position does he play? I don't know, but
I think he's offensive lineman.
He gonna own Taylor Wine as we joke about him on this episode. Okay. 21-22. This individual played at Miami, played 2 football games. The next year, what's up?
No, you guys keep going. Keep going.
Oh.
I'm working on something myself. I'm working through things over here. We're good.
The next year, he played 6 games with 3 starts for Miami. Then the following year in 23-24, went to Akron, did not play. 24-25, played 7 games with 5 starts at Akron. After that, last year, he was with Western Kentucky, played in 13 games, started all of them, and is going to be eligible to play for the University of Texas this year. And of course, not OU, but Owen Heineke's legal team is building a bit of their case around, hey, this situation right here, how come this guy's eligible over here when he's played, his allotted amount of time with his red shirts and what have you, but Owen isn't. So, Alan, did this kind of make it seem all the more real that Owen Heineke was going to be in Oklahoma Center in 2026 for you, and that since you saw it visually, or? did it not change much for you?
Well, I mean, it's a good representation, I think, of the actual principle here, which is that like Owen Heineke right now. I mean, this is kind of like I wouldn't say it's a technicality, but you have two athletes here who are similarly situated in terms of the benefits that have been afforded to them to this point, and that they could accrue through a season of playing here. But the NCAA again has ruled one eligible and one not. And when you start getting into stuff about like the NCAA, being, monitoring like potential restraints of trade and, property rights, that type of stuff, you don't get to be just kind of like this, you don't get these arbitrary standards, I mean, how you actually apply these rules and who's eligible to play and who's not actually take on a whole different kind of meaning. And the NCAA, again, this is just one case. I mean, there are plenty where the NCAA is given out kind of like haphazardly, I would argue, or you could make the case, I guess, haphazardly, different types of, waivers in the past. And so it doesn't necessarily make sense where they always draw the lines just from in terms of, what's the real distinction being drawn here.
Yeah. And that's kind of the crux, I think, that people try to get to when they come across this case, or I guess even Trinidad Chambliss's case, any other player that's trying to fight for another year of eligibility, and they seem to have some type of philosophical, or they have the human angle down, and people connect with that. Like, why are there these rules that exist in the first place? Why haven't they adapted over time? Why can't you make exceptions? I mean, whatever people are connecting to with this case, if they're not OU fans because they just want OU to be a better team because Owen Heineke's a good player. I understand like the people side of or like Owen Heineke and the people side of this compared to, I guess, institutionalists or people that really want to follow rules as they are written. I mean, to those people, I would just say, how many times have you jaywalked? Okay, well then I want you to voluntarily donate thousands of dollars to your municipal court because you've broken the law or whatever, because there are such things as rules that are written and there are rules that are enforced, how they're enforced and when they're enforced, like all these weird things that happen because human beings are flawed. But not to get too far into those weeds. Did George or someone else reporting on this, guys? Did someone else bring up Owen Heineke's legal team, or am I dreaming this up about them bringing up the angle of, hey, you guys just kind of said 2020 doesn't count. Okay, that's fine. What about everybody that was in high school that was trying to develop into a college football player, where their year, they lost a year of development because, not every high school said, yeah, we're going to play football or play sports, because I mean, college football and the pros did because it's $1 billion industry. So there's a lot of vested interest in continuing the sport. Whereas with kids in high school, it's just like, nope, we're not playing. It wasn't the case for everybody. But I mean, I've talked about it a handful of times on this podcast when we talk about offensive line play over the last handful of years. My conspiracy theory as to why offensive line play has decreased or been disappointing over the last handful of years is because a lot of those dudes lost a very pivotal year of development as a teenager playing a physically demanding sport. And we're seeing the consequences of that. And can I prove that? No. Is it kind of silly? Sure. But I think I saw something, Matt, am I ringing a bell?
About his legal stuff. I think I need to go back to George's thing. I think I scrolled past it.
I mean, they definitely kind of point to that in the sense that it impacted the number of spots that were available, like on the Ohio State football team. It impacted the number of spots, then like, if they're not holding, walk-on trials, for example, for them trying to get on there. This was always, I think you're actually hitting on an interesting legal issue here, Brady, because I never really, it didn't make a lot of sense to me when the NCAA did just give that blanket kind of waiver for everybody for 2020, because you were naturally going to be reducing the number of opportunities available to high school players just by giving all these guys, an extra year.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that clearly impacted whatever, all the different kind of just the circumstances around Heineke's situation, which is something that they definitely mentioned in the filing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm only mentioning this not as a pat myself on the back because I didn't know jack shit at the time, but I'm only mentioning it because I was on the radio talking about it at the time when the NCAA announced that you can sit out this year and it won't count against your eligibility, this being 2020, or you can play and it still won't count. And I thought at the time that is going to suck because I hate the idea of old men playing college football. And that's what I was thinking. And I also kind of pointed out that there's going to be some unintended consequences that we won't see we won't see this next year, the year after. We're going to see this 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years from now, like where we're going to be able to really sit back and look at what happens when you do something like that when you're the NCAA. And I mean, at the time, Alan, I think it would be easier if you decreased your class of people, your group of people that you have to deal with. They should have said something like, if you play, like you're playing, it's an eligibility year. If you choose to opt out because of medical or just like societal, like I don't want to do this, which is fine, then that doesn't count. That would have been a much smaller group and it might have been a larger group of people if they understood that, no, like this counts. Maybe I can just sit out a year.
Yeah.
But you would have still seen the majority of teams playing football in 2020. And I think you could have nipped this in the bud a lot sooner if you would have just said, no, if you opt out, then that doesn't count against your eligibility. Otherwise, sorry, you're playing.
Yeah, I think you still would have seen plenty of teams, almost all of them taking the field, just simply because what we saw at the time was the players actually wanted to get out there because for a lot of them, it's like, they've got the NFL in mind. They're trying to get to the draft and, not playing a year would have set them all back. They needed to be out there. So, I think that you're right about that.
Matt, you're not asked to go to the trial of the century tomorrow, are you?
No.
You're not doing a remote from Cleveland County?
No, I will not be there. I mean, I'm down, but I have not asked to be.
I was listening to my cohorts at Sooners on SI. I was listening to their podcast earlier today, and Hoover just he just asked the question like, hey, Ryan, because Ryan Aber is going to be covering it for us at Sooners on SI. Hey, Ryan, we're going to expect a decision tomorrow on Thursday, correct? And Ryan was like, oh yeah, like I don't expect this to be a multiple day thing. And then in my head, I thought, well, Brett Venables is taking the stand to speak.
Yeah.
And that hourglass isn't going to be there to save you.
Yeah.
Media members. It's like,
yeah,
no,
not to put Cory Booker to shame.
Yeah, you can totally see the attorneys being like, Brent, like, yes, no, that's all we need.
Yeah.
All we need.
They start playing the violins, like, please, God.
Yeah.
This is kind of a funny observation. Here's one of the things you get from, because like I get it. People might have an opinion of like, oh, what? Okay, you go and film like interviews with players after practice. Like I watch that. I watch on Sooner Scoop, or I watch 247 and Sooners Insider, or Sooners on SI. Like, so why does everyone need to do it? Well, like sometimes you get like little fun bonus points, or just cookies for going to something like that. So one of the observations that we had at the practice availability, what would this have been, Monday? We're all sitting under the stadium, like near one of the tunnels to go out into the field. We're just waiting for OU to come out and say, all right, they're ready, go onto the field, go talk to the players, because the team is still on the practice fields practicing. And then we heard a very loud, like, roar of a cheer, just like the entire team was like cheering about something. We couldn't see them. But we all assumed that, okay, some walk-on got a scholarship. That's what it sounds like. And then you cut to like 20 minutes later, we're talking to Bo Bentley. They're talking to Heath Ozida and John Mateer. And while I'm waiting for the next player to come through the tunnel that we can go talk to, I'm talking to a few of the OU people, and they're talking like, hey, who got the scholarship? Like, I'm like, what? we just heard the team like cheer really loud at the end of practice. And one of them was like, "Oh, so Kenny Ozawalu made a field goal at the end of practice, and the defensive linemen have to kick a field goal at the end of practice. If they make it, the team doesn't have to hear Brent Venables speak." So it's like even an inside thing with them. It's like, man, he talks so long.
Oh, that's great.
Fun. Yeah, it's fun. I mean, of course, it's an inside thing. He's got the damn hourglass on his podium. It's all fun. He knows he knows who he is. He's a great motivational speaker. But I guess final question with the Owen Heineke thing, guys. I mean, we're all expecting that injunction to be positive towards OU's causes tomorrow, correct?
I am. Yeah.
Maddie?
I think so.
Yeah, and I mean the process. I mean, I know Stoya kind of laid it out a few weeks ago. Like the process is now going to be, well, the NCAA has 30 days to appeal. They probably will, and then Owen Heineke's team will have 30 more days to appeal, and then it'll be up to the Oklahoma State Supreme Court. Which is that where Trinidad's status is right now? Is it with the Mississippi State Supreme Court?
I think he's all cleared to go.
Yeah, like maybe the Mississippi State Supreme Court might have declined to hear it, maybe, but I'm not sure.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm all for black man getting a favorable court dealing from the state of Mississippi. If it's got to start somewhere, right? So that sometimes good things can happen. This is why sports are important. Well, then. I mean, what is it then? What is he going to be able to play? Like, because I've seen multiple different timelines kind of laid up by multiple different people. I'm not saying that they don't know what they're talking about, but because this thing has changed in terms of people's opinion about the fact of the matter in days, because here's Owen Heineke's side, the NCAA like comes back and counters. Because the last that I thought of it, Alan, was the Oklahoma State Supreme Court's going to have the ability to I guess hear the case right before the season. And this is, of course, assuming that Owen Heineke doesn't get drafted and he ultimately decides to not be an undrafted free agent in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, I'm lost, honestly, as to what comes next. I mean, you could have my guess is that if Heineke gets a favorable ruling tomorrow, I would just assume he'll be on the field for OU in the fall. That's how I would take it.
So, okay, let's play a hypothetical game. Ole Miss and Oklahoma. Is the NCAA just going to say every game they play doesn't count? And I think it might be easy to assume that, hey, coaches and other programs should just not listen to the NCAA because this might happen to them. No, these coaches are paid millions of dollars to win games, and when they lose them, they risk being fired. So if they basically get to play Oklahoma or Ole Miss and the game, quote unquote, doesn't count, that's a very tempting prospect for a lot of teams and programs. So I assume that even if the case is up in the air, like couldn't the NCAA just say, no, this dude is not eligible per our rules. So every game OU plays in, they need to forfeit. Every game Ole Miss needs to play in, they need to forfeit.
I mean, I guess the NCAA can try to do whatever it wants, right? But I'm not sure if these schools have, a court opinion on their side, it seems, I'm not sure that that's a road that the NCAA would be willing to go down, because I guess then you start thinking about the rest of the way here. If the NCAA is made up of the schools in theory might say we that could be us down the line, that we get a favorable opinion, and all of a sudden you get to arbitrarily pick and choose when we're not eligible to play or not. I'd assume that it'll just move ahead, as normal person. That's my guess. But I don't know. The NCAA can try to do what it wants, I guess.
I guess so. I mean, Matt, are you at all worried about the prospect of OU winning a lot of games potentially, and then they don't count anymore because mean, they're having to forfeit. I mean,
well, it would just be if
What's
Owen
the-
Heineke played, right? I mean,
yeah,
yeah.
because I'm assuming he's going to play. I'm like,
Right.
I don't know.
If it was still up in the air, though, like I don't know if Heineke plays. I think he may just try to go NFL route and try to make a practice squad or something.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, there has to be like some SEC coaches that are like begging their because all these coaches know each other, pro and college, begging some of their like assistant coach friends in the league, like, just draft this dude, please get him off the field. Like, just waste a 6th round draft pick. You've got
Right.
12 of them. Just draft him. He's fine. He's a fine player. Just, yeah. I mean, I think with where it's going, Owen Heineke is the one who decides if he's playing for OU or not.
Yeah.
So, oh, well, I'm sure everybody's going to be excited to see the graphic that he's free to play tomorrow, and that will make the rounds and hold everybody over until Saturday, when OU plays the spring game for the first time in 1 year. Alan, typically, for spring games, there's much ado to be made because it's football. It's kind of an appetizer if you're here, or even if you're watching it at home. It's just, like Saturday, and OU football is going to be played and you get to watch it. So it's still fun to do the ritual and all those things. But I got to be honest, like there are things that I'm intrigued to see because I've been covering the team now for Sooners on SI every day, and I've been going to practice. So, like Dakota Fields' development, that interests me. Does that interest our listeners? Probably not. And that's fine, because did Devon Jordan's development intrigue me this time last year? No, it didn't, because I wasn't covering the team, and I don't care about a 4th or 5th cornerback on the depth chart. I just care about, as a fan, like the top 2 or 3. Are they good? Great. That's all my brain can handle. So with that said, is there anything that from a spring game that you can kind of discern that you're maybe itching to see? Either you see it and it makes you feel better, or you see it and, oh boy, I'm going to pump the brakes on some optimism come Saturday when the spring game starts.
Yeah, well, a lot of these guys are kind of known quantities, right? Look, whatever and there's a lot of talk about John Mateer needs to be better in the fall, right? Well, we're not going to see, I don't think, anything in the spring game that's going to tell you, hey, Mateer is going to be a better quarterback in the fall. I don't buy that, right? We've seen it. That's not enough for me to offset all of last season. But there are a lot of these guys that we haven't seen before. I'd like to know if OU has a potential kind of feature back in Jonathan Hatton. I'd like to know how some of these receivers are going to end up working into the mix. Now, I say that, but it sounds like a lot of the guys that we need to know about won't be playing anyway. So, but it's a spring game. There are things that you can kind of tease out. For example, if you watch how coaches react to different things, or sometimes the guys in the booth, like Dusty Dvorak, maybe commenting on a linebacker blowing an assignment, something like that. But
who was that again?
It was Kanik.
Oh yeah, the can't play Kanik.
Yeah. So anyway, but you get my drift. Like, there will just be some stuff out there that you can kind of pick up on, but a lot of times, man, I've seen it too many times where somebody really blows up and when you never hear from them again. So, it's all, I don't know. To me, it's more just like a tentpole type event, though, in the off season. Like, remembering some guys almost, like, hey, we haven't seen these dudes in a while. We won't see them again for a few more months, but, it's just kind of just something for the fans in that regard.
This is a random aside, because I just remembered this. I saw some clip of Josh Pate and his show. Like, it was essentially like pretender contender. Like, how do you feel about these teams? And his take on OU essentially boiled down to, I have not been there to watch them practice and afforded like a VIP, experience. And so I don't know. I'm going to lean that they're worse than last year. And I'm just like, what? They've not called me personally to ask me to like fly me private first class. Joe Stiglione's not there anymore, so maybe like the new athletic director doesn't have my number handy. Maybe that's why. But until I see them like from my ivory tower, I'm just gonna be like, yeah, they're mid, whatever. But like that, like how did that relate to what you just said? Spring games kind of to me serve as what's bothering you or what worries you about this team. You probably are going to see it. What excites you about this team going into this year? You're probably going to see it. Like you're going to see what you want to see because it's OU playing themselves, which the last few years, that's been OU's biggest problem is playing themselves. Matt, you never have the problem of playing with yourself. So
yeah, do it often.
What do you
you said playing with? Oh,
yeah, of course. Well, it's okay. We're doing this over the internet. It's
right. Yeah.
What are some things Alan didn't mention that you're really intrigued to see? And I hope you say backup kicker.
Yeah, backup kicker for sure. The punting battle, right? Is that
it is a competition
battle?
Like, it absolutely is. And OU fans, I mean, I heard some things in that stadium when Grayson Miller dropped that punt. So, like, laugh at the punting competition, but you want it.
You want that competition, whether you know it or not, right now. No, we were talking about this a little bit earlier today, but I think it's always fun to kind of see what the new freshman quarterback looks like, right? With Bo Bentley, he's not going to be a finished product. Like this is his first time, but like to see some first impressions from him. But yeah, I mean, as far as like, we can just go on like individual guys that I'm looking forward to see, but I'm not going to take a lot away from the spring game, but you can bet your bottom dollar that, come Monday, and then Tuesday when we record this podcast, I'll be like, oh man, this guy, Jasir Rogers is awesome. Like this guy, like you can bet your bottom dollar. I say it right now. I'm not going to overreact, but then, come next week, absolutely going to overreact.
I don't think I've ever heard you say you can bet your bottom dollar, and you said it twice.
I'm full of surprises.
Yes. I mean,
I'm a total wild card.
I like this, Matt Burton. I like this one. Well, okay. This is going to be a first for obviously the transfer players. So, I mean, not Trell Harris because he's been hurt. Let me think. Kenny Ozawalu, UTSA transfer. Is he going to be spending time a lot on the interior? Is he going to be on the edge? We'll find something out like that. It'll be a first time for newcomers as freshmen, like you mentioned, Alan, Jonathan Hatton, DeZephan Walker as well. I think everyone might be pleasantly surprised if they've not been keeping up with like day-to-day spring ball content on any of the services that cover the team. DeZephan Walker, I think, might surprise most people. Obviously, like running back, spring game, like environment, the way the game is played. Running back is typically the position where, Alan, as you mentioned, like when someone explodes, like they're rarely ever heard from again. I mean, the latest one is like Caleb Hicks from two, like the last spring game where he looked excellent with his size and then just never got an opportunity. And I would, this is where I would usually say, well, that's because DeMarco Murray was his position coach, but he transferred to OSU and barely played. So, sometimes spring game heroes don't become game day heroes, but DeZephan Walker is probably my prediction for people going, who's this guy? Because in practice, he looks, for his like shorter guy, bigger, like stocky, muscular build, can take some punishment, but very quick feet, can run through trash really well. Jonathan Hatton's been like, I've had a man crush on him since I saw him. Like he looks like $1 million in pads. He looks kind of like Adrian Peterson. I mean, he's not Adrian Peterson. He's not as good. Like I'm just saying, like he's big and tall and runs upright like Adrian Peterson did. But you know what? So did Alex Ross. Let's talk about John Mateer for just a few minutes, Alan. I put this out on Sooners on SI. I was like, 3 things to look forward to on offense in the spring game. And it was the first little subsection was about quarterback play. And the first line was like, hey, don't think you're going to see like John Mateer, like with different mechanics This is not the environment to see him change his throwing motion. Don't even think that you're going to see him be more stable with his foundation, with his feet work, with his legs, because this is a scrimmage. He's got the blue jersey on. This isn't the environment for him to showcase any improvement in that area. So for me, it just comes down to what can you see with John Mateer in a spring game? And I think the easiest answer that you can say with 100% confidence is, does he have any chemistry with any of these guys? Because we know he has it with Isaiah Satania. I think we know that he has a rapport with Jacob Jordan, even though he didn't throw many balls to him last year, but he didn't have many opportunities to have balls thrown to him last year, but he is a returning pass catcher. Elijah Thomas as well, Manny Choice, guys that have been on the team since John Mateer has been here. But in terms of like on the field during game day, it's Isaiah Satania as of right now. So maybe a Mackenzie Aline, maybe a Manny Choice, or I would say Parker Livingston, but he's kind of been in and out of the of practice availability the last few weeks. So, I mean, is that something you think you can say like, okay, I like that development, and that John Mateer probably won't lock on to Satania this coming season?
Well, the way I look at it, I'm kind of more interested as opposed to who's catching the ball, maybe more where's the ball going. Is Mateer kind of getting out of the comfort zone that he had last year, that making the same throws that he was making a lot last year? Is he checking down more? Is the ball getting out quicker? Those are the kinds of things that I think I'll be looking at more so than who's catching the ball. Now, I am interested in this Mackenzie Aline. His name keeps coming up. I don't know what kind of role he can play. He doesn't look like a big guy or anything like that. But there's something about, I guess, those kinds of guys that Mateer might just have kind of a natural kind of affinity for getting them the ball,
Yeah, and it's interesting you said Mackenzie Aline, like, oh, you just put out that clip of Mateer, like he throws with his, typical sidearm motion, like a deep ball to Aline is well thrown, and he catches it over the shoulder in the middle of the field, and then he is down at the 1 yard line. It looks like he's down at the 1 yard line, but you just put that little clip out on the social medias. I'm trying to look for some names. Okay, good. I've got them back to back right here. Yeah, Aline, the first thing I thought of, and this isn't a player comp in terms of how they play. This is just kind of like that level of receiver we've seen before, and they can be very helpful to your offense. I'm talking about guys like Nick Basquin and Miles Tees. Like, yeah, they're not CeeDee Lamb, they're not Hollywood Brown, but they're guys that you're confident, as at the time Lincoln Riley, now as Ben Arbuckle. They're guys that you're confident that you can throw out onto the field, and they will run routes, they will block, they will hold on to the football, they will catch the football. And in the heat of a game, like in pivotal moments, everyone's worried about Satania, or everyone's worried about whatever tight end rises to the occasion this year if they turn into a threat, or they're afraid of John Mateer taking off. And then here comes Mackenzie Aline. Oh shit. Like him making like a 3rd and 7 catch. So when I saw him transfer to OU, when I looked at his player profile, watched a few of his highlights, that was kind of the guy. Those were kind of the names or that status of receiver that jumped out to me. And just in thinking, like, hopefully, if OU can find guys like that, Alan, I think that's, of course, because you want NFL prototype receiver. But if you don't have that, they have a guy, a game breaker in Satania that can help them, that has won them games already. They need that next tier, that tier below of receivers. And I need, like, maybe you can find inklings of that in this spring game.
Yeah. I mean, and let's be honest, right? The idea that you're going to have 3 NFL prototype receivers on your roster anymore, like, that's just not going to happen. I mean, those guys are with NIL, with all the different opportunities. I mean, those guys are going to be getting spread out among other teams. So if I would argue that finding that next tier, that next layer that you mentioned there, like, to me, that's as like as important now as it ever has been, really.
Oh yeah, and I mean the year before in 2017, like Michael Jones was kind of that same type of dude, and he made. I mean, I just remember him making like a big catch on 3rd down in Kansas State. He had that touchdown in the Big 12 championship against TCU. So if OU can get guys like that you just go down the depth chart. Oh, and this guy has like a touchdown or 2, or has crucial 3rd down catches. That's great. That helps out the offense, especially when you've got a quarterback that's not the most accurate dude on earth. I mean, not a receiver, Matt, but because I've already mentioned the tight ends, is there anyone that you're kind of excited to see in person run routes or block or tackle on the field on Saturday?
Yeah. As far as like tight ends go, I think just to like see, obviously Hayden Hansen is the main one, just because it seems like he's just a big ass dude. But Trinae Washington apparently is like close to 270 now. I want to see what that looks like.
Dude, there is something weird with him. 270.
Yeah.
He does not move like it. It is. Yep. I'm not saying that he's going to be like the best thing ever, but if he gets any opportunities, it wouldn't surprise me, because he just looks very, and I mean this is a compliment, very unnatural. And this is because like I know how big he's listed as and how heavy he is. And I'm like, really? As I'm watching him block or run routes, I'm like, that's interesting.
I find myself, we were talking about this today, but I want to see what Jake Krell looks like. Even though, like, obviously in a spring game setting, pass rushing is kind of like, I don't know, tamped down, because you can't hit the quarterback at all. So it's a little bit tamped down, but I want to see what he looks like, out there. But yeah, I mean, as far as anyone else on defense, obviously, I mean, Trent Wilson and Nigel Smith, just to see, because they've basically had an entire spring ball of being the ones, essentially, with Jaden Jackson, David Stone being out. So I want to see what those guys look like, and see if they're getting pushed back quite a bit by the O-line, and that should happen more often than not, right, with your basically starting offensive line against what would normally be your second string interior defensive line. But I want to see kind of the jumps that those guys have made, because again, I say it all the time, but that was just such a huge strength of OU last year, the interior defensive line, and it's kind of a question mark outside of the top 2 guys.
Yeah, I mean, I think come fall camp, we're all going to feel a little bit better about the fact that, a lot of dudes, like you mentioned, on the defensive line, on defense overall, the starters got to just kind of like, you don't need to practice in spring. It's okay. It's okay. Go clean that up. We're going to put a boot on you. I'm not saying that that's what happened, but no, Drake Krell, Nigel Smith, Trent Wilson. And here's the interesting thing. Did you guys see that clip I put out, 2 weeks ago or a week ago, of Trent Wilson? I was just highlighting like a play Trent Wilson made on the half line drill that they were running. And the whole point that I said was like, Todd Bates, like since I've been out here, has just like praised Trent Wilson after every play. And Trent Wilson makes a really good play. He's going up against Owen Hollenbeck, the backup center, and he engages, stabilizes him with one arm, and then also is looking for the ball carrier, then swim moves away from him, tosses him aside, and then makes a tackle for loss, or at least like stands him up for a tackle for loss. On that play, and then immediately kind of closer to the camera from where I was shooting, Jake Krell just completely and utterly just jumps around the right tackle or the left tackle, and is just there to set the edge to force, I think, DeZeph Walker to run into Trent Wilson. And rest assured, that's what everybody replied to or like mentioned on the video. And I didn't even really notice it. And then I know why. I looked it up and realized why I didn't notice it. I don't even know the young man's name that Jake Krell went up against on that particular rep, because it is a name that I have never seen, nor do I remember at this point. So bless his heart. But you know what? He's living the dream. He's living the dream that a lot of us would have. And he's wearing the Oklahoma Sooners on his chest and on his head. So no shade whatsoever. But let's keep it over with the, or Alan, did you have any big juicy tight end takes before we switch over to defense?
Nothing that hasn't been said.
Yeah, well, and I said big juicy tight ends on purpose. I just want everybody to know. Speaking of Hayden Hansen, beautiful man, very beautiful man. My wife was like, look, we were watching a video clip on YouTube, and it was just the clip that when I asked him the question about the running game, and he was like, "Oh yeah, we're pounding the rock." She just looked at it and said, "He's gonna do well." And I just took that as like, if he doesn't make the NFL, he's gonna do well. It's like, yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Okay, so over to defense. I mean, I'm seeing and hearing things that I think aren't surprising to anybody. Bishop Thomas, for instance, and this is just as an example for what I'm setting up. Bishop Thomas is a guy who's played a lot of college football. Was at Georgia State, excuse me. He was at Georgia State, Florida State prior to. Played a lot of football. And he just over and over and over again, when we got to talk to him last week, was just talking about, hey, learning the playbook's the hardest thing. And it's not man, this is very hard for me. Like, again, this is a guy that's played a lot of college football. He's played in a lot of complex defenses in his time. But it's a Brent Venables defense that asks its players to do a lot of things. And so it's a very complicated playbook. I'm hearing the same thing about Cole Sullivan. He's kind of said as much as well, as like it's a steep learning curve. But that's what spring is for. So, I mean, Matt, I'll start with you. I want to exercise caution for anyone that watches the spring game, not on TV, but watches it in person or hears about it on the radio and sees like Cole Sullivan. I mean, I don't know, pull a Kenneth Murray and run through the wrong gap, or, James Nestor, or some of the freshmen or redshirt freshmen that are going to get opportunities on the defensive line, watch them whiff or just kind of look lost. This is the time to do it, because everybody, like all the starters, are going to be back for fall if they're healthy, which we're all assuming that they're going to be.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, just get all the mistakes out. Like the spring game is the perfect time to do it. But looking forward to seeing Cole Sullivan out there. I mean, it seems like everyone that has seen him, it seems like a big dude. Like for a linebacker, like it seems like a tall linebacker. So, but yeah, I'm not gonna hold anything against guys in the spring game. Unless like Amatir goes out there and throws like 3 picks, then it's like, well, then it's like, okay, people are going to freak out about that if that happens. But as far as like a new guy transfer, anything like that, if he misses, a gap assignment on one play, I'm not going to be like, oh, he missed this. Does Venables know what he's doing, coaching defense? I'm not going to be doing that. But.
Well, I mean, Alan, it can be a linebacker, it can be a defensive lineman. Is there one in particular that you're kind of excited to see either for the first time, and you're just like, anything that you see is just going to be like a fun, like, oh, that's great. That's great that OU has a young player like that. And I'm not saying that you feel this way about Nigel Smith, but I'm just that type of player that's been in the program for like a year or two that you've heard has made certain developments. You're just excited to see those like developments with your own eyes at this point.
Well, I won't be seeing them with my own eyes,
right.
But
at some point you will see it on YouTube. You have to subscribe to OU. Like what would OU's like Disney Plus be called?
Oh, Sooner Vision.
Sooner Vision. Yeah.
Isn't that what they are? Yeah.
Better than most stream. At some point, you'll be able to see something.
Yeah. Yes, and Nigel Smith is definitely one. He was a guy that coming out of high school, I felt like he was going to need time in the weight room, but that there was a lot there. And it sounds like he's starting to kind of round into form. That would definitely be one of them. Cole Sullivan, I know that we've brought him up already, but need to find out what he's got. Need to find out, on top of what his main job's going to be. Can they play him at like Cheetah, for example, or something like that? I mean, they're going to be teams that run heavier sets at OU, and it sounds like Taylor Heim won't be part of the equation, so they're going to need somebody more of a run stopper out there. Could he play that role, especially if Owen Heineke's coming back? Those are definitely two of the ones, and then Ozawalu for sure. That just a very intriguing, prospect there. What they could do with him, how they could move him around and use him in different ways.
And I want to piggyback off that because Kenny Ozawalu gives me. I have an okay enough grasp on X's and O's. I've watched football enough. I've read into some things, but I'm by no means a scout. And I think most people that listen to this show probably know that. But you had, what was his name, Cody Alexander on recently on one of the Patreon pod, our latest Patreon pod, and he went into some pretty good detail about Brent Venables' kind of like schemes and how like he compared OU, not necessarily compared, but he lumped OU and Indiana together and why they run similar defensive sets, but for very different reasons. And OU fans will appreciate the reason that OU runs the defense the way that they do. But having a guy like Kenny Ozawalu, and OU, I'm sure, has had players in the last few years that kind of fit this mold. But to me, Alan, he kind of represents a type of player that if he can literally develop into a guy that can be both an edge rusher and play on the inside and be like damn good at either one, can that allow Brent to be even more multiple than he already is and be more confusing to opposing offenses? Because I mean, what was the thing that they ran at Clemson that just freaked everybody out for a year or two? Was it was it the 3-3-3 thing?
They did run that at times. Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure, but there unquestionably, if you have a guy who you can move around, who can be, who can handle things on the edge, also be a speed rusher on the interior type. I mean, that opens up a lot for you in terms of where you can situate him and how you can use him. I mean, one of the interesting things that, when you start to study stuff like, line play or whatever is, a lot of times you've got guys whose job is not to make a play, but it's to set up somebody else to make a play. You don't think about that, when you're just watching it, but so the more multiple you can get with guys, the more opportunities that they present. Yeah, without a doubt.
I mean, well, so would defensive, like a guy on the interior or the edge, would that be the most influential player to allow you to do like real funky things? Or would you rather have and again, I can't remember the guy's name, the cheetah guy at Clemson that got drafted.
Isaiah Simmons.
Yeah.
Isaiah Simmons.
Oh, I'm always going to lean to a interior player.
Good.
Tackle.
Good.
Yeah.
That's where my point was going. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, is Kenny Ozawalu going to be that guy this year? I mean, I don't know. He definitely looks like a guy that can probably get bigger with, better strength and conditioning. Not saying that he's not good at it, but he was going from UTSA to the University of Oklahoma. I'm just going to imagine that OU's got a better strength and conditioning program than a smaller school like UTSA. But definitely can see him getting a little bit bigger over time. But maybe he can make some plays or have opportunities as early as this fall. I mean, for all I know. But I mean, Matt.
Even if you can use him as like an interior rusher on third down. You know what I mean? Just slide him inside and play him normally. Yeah.
The David Stone thing at his true freshman season.
Yeah, exactly. Play him some on the edge and slide him inside and pass him downs. I mean, it opens up a lot.
Well, I mean, Matt, I guess to round out the rest of the position groups, I mean, defensive back is definitely something that if you tally up a bunch of random OU fans, who are you most intrigued to see? I guess the default answer is Boganowski as a starting safety. We know he can hit hard. Can he cover? Can he not get lost in coverage? Can he do routine safety things? Like he's played a healthy amount already. So like experience on the field isn't going to be a brand new thing for him. But in terms of these new responsibilities as the starter, like, can he handle all that? Like we're not going to see that on Saturday. We're going to have to wait until the games begin in fall to actually see that. So, I mean, at least for me, maybe to like get your brain thinking about defensive backs, like I'd already kind of mentioned, like I'm intrigued to see like who is the fourth corner, because we all feel good about Eli Bowen and Cortland Guillory being maybe the best cornerback duo in the SEC, or one of like the top cornerback duos in the SEC, which is a great thing considering that, you know, Texas got Cam Coleman and OU has a ton of opponents that have great skill position players, and OU is not necessarily in that category with themselves on offense, but they've got the defensive guys to maybe neutralize some of these stars in their own right. But outside of them, you know, Jacoby Johnson had a fantastic end of the season last year, was great as the third corner. But who's going to be the fourth guy? Like who's going to be the Devon Jordan getting sent on a third down delayed corner blitz to sack Ty Simpson in a key play on the road in Tuscaloosa to help OU win a game against Alabama? Is it going to be Dakota Fields? Is it going to be Dakota's the only one I've like really worried about because I can't remember anybody else's name.
Yeah. Well, that I think while not technically a defensive back, what you would think, I mean, what these guys would normally be classified as defensive back, but that cheetah spot with Reggie Powers, probably Jeremiah Newcomb there with especially the injury to Taylor Heim. Like, I mean, that position kind of changed, right? It lost a little bit of versatility. I'm sure that, you know, they could maybe throw a Boganowski there, maybe a little bit of a bigger safety there or something like that. But I thought Reggie Powers played pretty well last year in the minutes that he got there.
You're still in basketball mode, Matt. Minutes.
Yeah. Well, what the hell does that clock on the scoreboard count? Does that not seconds and minutes?
It's not real.
Yeah, right. Exactly. But for like Reggie Powers is a guy that I'm looking at. He's I think going to have a lot on his shoulders there at the cheetah spot, even though, well, technically we wouldn't consider that a defensive back position. But as far as corner goes, your guess is as good as mine. I got down to Dakota Fields as well, and then I was like, well, maybe Tristan Haynes too. I know that Tristan Haynes is a guy that out of Carl Albert that they liked, but just dealt with some injuries and stuff like that. So see if he can make another leap there. But
there's Derek Johnson as a true freshman. He's got good size for an 18-year-old, but again, true freshman.
Right. They've had success though, past two true freshmen, I will say. Yeah. But still with the safety room, I think I want to see maybe one snap of Peyton Bowen and then get him out. Don't need to see anything else from Peyton Bowen. I think I saw everything I need to see last year. And then as far as like that other safety, like can it be a Boganowski? Can it be Marion Robinson? Right, like Markel Ford, I think is a freshman that I think is pretty intriguing there at safety. So I don't know. Brandon Hall has done I think a really good job adding talent to that safety room since he's been here. So I feel pretty confident that no matter who they kind of trot out there at safety, they'll be ready to go.
Well, I mean, Alan, Matt, are you guys ready to, I guess, jump off the Tate Sandell train because he's going to fall prey to the OU kicker curse and have a bad last season?
I don't know. That dude is pretty nails last year.
Where's your Trace Rudd stock at? Boom. Which guy? Yeah, I mean, we'll see. Well, I mean, I think Tate Sandell is going to be fine. I'm just kidding. Any final spring game thoughts, guys?
Listen to me and Ryan Chapman 10:30 to 11:30 on Saturday before the game on 107.7 The Franchise.
Oh, that's going to be fun. Alan, what are you going to do with your Saturday now that you can't watch the game?
Oh, I mean, I'll be, in all honesty, I watched these in the past and I make it like 2 drives and then it's normally background noise after that. I mean, I'll be honest. So chances are whatever it was that I would have been doing this will only, I mean, that's like 15 minutes, you know what I mean? So I'll do whatever else I would have normally been doing, but hopefully the weather's good. Maybe I'll smoke a brisket or something like that.
Nice.
And just enjoy life, man. Just enjoy being above ground,
I know for sure I'm going to be there longer than I was for the Crimson Combine last year.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah,
I literally got up to the press box. I was like, this is the time that it's supposed to be starting, and there's 100 people in the stands, like maybe 100 people. I was like, I'm going to leave. I'm going to leave. Yeah.
What is this, USC? Come on. It's the Crimson Combine. Goodness gracious.
Rest in peace.
Oh, well. Yeah. Well, any other OU things, guys? Roger Denny spoke in Tulsa before OU baseball got their ass handed to them by OSU. John asked him about the stadium renovation project. Seems like, it's still going to go as planned. I'm sure things will happen because something happened and oil is more expensive now. I don't know. I'm a football person. I don't know these things, but who knows if things like that will alter any plans. The entertainment district is going to keep being built despite the city of Norman's wishes. Oh, well. Other than that, anything else?
I think that's it, man.
Yep. College football. What is it? The college football playoff. Very slightly changed their logo. And someone did that and said graphic design is my passion or whatever. Mm-hmm. Have you guys seen that the Commanders logo is impossible? Have you seen the graphic design chatter on social media about it?
Yeah. Am I dumb? Because I'm like, okay, yeah, well, the spear can just go through it, right? So
yeah, I read it. I'm like
if it's just piercing it.
Maybe I'm just stupid. I don't know. I don't know. Graphic design.
It's better than one of their old logos. So.
Oh, really? I please, I'm all ears, man. I don't know what you're talking about. Alan, you're from the area. How do you feel about the Commanders?
Like as an enterprise or like a theory?
Just as an organization, top to bottom, what their logo looks like, what their past logos looked like.
Yeah, I went to a sports business conference a few years back. It was when they were doing the whole rebranding, and the guy who was in charge of it was there, and he talked about essentially because Dan Snyder still ran the team at the time, and he talked about how hard it was to wake up every day, it seemed like, and there was some news about something Dan Snyder had done and he was trying to concentrate on this new brand and so it was just very funny to hear. No, people out here, I don't know. I think people out here tolerate the Commanders. A lot of people really love them. But it's just they haven't had a lot to write home about lately.
I don't think maroon and yellow should be a great color combination, but man, it is such a great look.
Yeah.
The color scheme. I stress the color scheme of the Washington Football Collective. Great color scheme. And it shouldn't be. It works. I don't know why. It's magic. I love it. I just typed in, it's not Daniel Snyder. What was his dad's name?
Daniel Snyder's dad?
Yeah.
I have no idea who Daniel Snyder's dad is.
Mr. Snyder.
Yeah.
Was he the old owner?
Oh, no, you mean the Cook family, or was it Jack Kent Cook, right?
Oh, yeah, okay. Never mind. I thought, I was just going to ask, is he still alive? Anyway, nothing happened in sports media, right? There's no big story about sports media and how they should conduct themselves with the people they cover.
No, I'm not aware of anything.
There's a lesson in that, though, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. Matt, you be hanging around the Thunder's locker room a little too long, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Shay,
Me and Mark Dagnall. Yeah, me and Mark Dagnall.
Shay, gorgeous Alexander to you. Thank you. I mean, you know what? Now, speaking of that, I'm mad Peyton's not here because I really wanted to get his take on the Spurs. I mean, just blowing an opportunity on the last day of the regular season. And the last time the Spurs did something similar, I think the Clippers beat them in the first round. Isn't that right? 2015?
Can't remember. Probably.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, that was the year the Clippers got to the second round, and then they were destroying James Harden and the Rockets, and James Harden got benched, and then the Rockets came back.
Yeah.
Because James Harden is he's a bum in the postseason. Any big NBA takes or thoughts or predictions as the playoffs begin, Alan?
Oh, no, just good basketball. You know, last night, I know the result for the Heat didn't go your way, Brady, but that was a pretty fun game.
It was okay. It was okay. The Heat were, if they had just lost that last game in the regular season, they would have just had a slightly better chance at a lottery pick. Instead, they're losing to the Hornets. Yikes, yeah. Matt.
Go Thunder, man.
Are they gonna repeat?
They might, man. They might. I don't want to jinx them.
You're nervous. I'll
knock on wood, but yeah, I would much rather have the Thunder's path than the Spurs.
Yes,
100%.
I know. Like, just imagine. I mean, like a potential first round against the Clippers is. I mean, with the way Kawhi played the last handful of weeks, like that. The Thunder have they toyed with the Clippers. But that's still like sweeping the Pelicans and sweeping the Grizzlies last year. That's one thing. Like, I don't know if you're going to be able to sweep Kawhi and whatever.
I don't know. I think if the Suns end up getting the 8th spot after watching the Suns last night, I'm like, okay, that's sweep territory. That is for sure sweep territory.
Yeah,
there. I think like the Warriors might be able to get a game right. I think they might be getting healthy. I don't think the Warriors want to win tonight. I mean, they're 37-45 on the year. I think they'd rather just be good, but I don't know. I think it'll end up being the Thunder Clippers, and maybe a gentleman's sweep and hang out. But the one thing we were talking about is like the past 2 seasons, the Timberwolves have gotten to the Western Conference Finals. If they did that again for the 3rd season, they would have beaten the Nuggets, the Spurs, and then had to play the Thunder.
What
a path there for the
God. I know, and Minnesota's good. Like the West is just stop doing this Western Eastern Conference thing. It's not fun, man. We don't need to see why are the Sixers don't need to be playing right now. This is stupid. Anyway, last question, Matt. Will this championship parade be as fun as the one last year? Because you always remember your first.
You do. I think that it will be better in the sense of, we've already had one, so now we kind of know what to do now. I think it was a lot of people just didn't really know what to do except scream, yell, like cheer, drink, all that stuff. So it was one of those things. Now I think we'd be better prepared for it and what to do.
Hell, that was televised. Not the spring game.
No.
You gotta figure it out. Just got Brent Venables figured out. All right. Well, patrons, thank you so much for jumping in. If you did, appreciate you all. For the non-live listeners or viewers on YouTube, thank you all so much. Click or like and subscribe on YouTube. Go to Keyhole Sports or type in through the Keyhole Oklahoma. You'll find our channel. It's where all of our live shows live, where you can watch us talk about this stuff instead of listening to us. If you haven't already, please leave a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. We will greatly appreciate it. But we will be back on the for No Cap, won't we? This weekend, spring game takes.
I think I'd be useless. I'm like, again.
What'd you think of it, Alan? I didn't see it. My view is
Toby Rowland never sounded better.
Yeah. Yeah, we might do a no cap recap of some form or fashion this weekend. So through the Keyhole, you can go to patreon.com/through the Keyhole. You can be a member for free for the first month. before you decide you want to donate some of your hard-earned dough to help out our little operation here. We would greatly appreciate that if you did. But yeah, well, that's where we'll leave it. Thank you everybody for listening to the show in whatever way you did. Appreciate it. But for the absent Peyton Guthrie, who just celebrated his anniversary, happy anniversary, Peyton. And for the present, Matt Burton, Alan Kinney, myself, Brady Trantham, everybody, thank you so much for listening through the Keyhole. Until next time, boom.
Soon.